I'm definitely not beating the Paul lookalike allegations. Fuck. Well, today, folks, we're going to be looking at one of the best modern Spider-Man stories of this generation. And that is Spider-Man Spider Shadow, one of the best and darkest stories that I have ever read. And it's pretty good. I actually like it a lot. As I said, it's one of the best ones. And of course, because it's quality, it's written by Chip Zdarsky, who has written the incredible Daredevil run from 2019 to 2022. And he's written Peter Parker the Spectacular Spider-Man, one of the only good modern Spider-Man runs that we have gotten in years. And unfortunately, he seems to be the only good one that we're ever going to get for a very long time in the mainline continuity, that is. But yeah, this miniseries, it's really good. It's a What If series. Originally, if you don't know, What If, or basically like one-shot tales about what would happen if a character does this certain thing, like what happens if Spider-Man marries the Black Cat or something along those lines. Like, it was pretty popular in like the 70s and 80s. Nowadays, Marvels don't do that a lot as much as they used to. They kind of have a short return here and there for like a single one-shot, or maybe they'll make like a mini-series like what they're doing now with Venom, with What If Dark. Once in a while, they'll do that, but for the most part, there aren't really consistent What If stories now these days. They tried to do it again, actually, with this story. Unfortunately, the second story that came out of after the whole Spider-Man Spider Shadow was a pretty terrible Miles Morales story that had Miles saying this. Yeah, you could pretty much tell why they decided to end the series short after that and restart all over again. But yeah, other than that though, this is a really fine series, and I liked it a lot, and today we're just gonna break down the whole events that happen in this comic, and hopefully you guys will like it as much as I do. And if you do like it, don't forget to like and comment and subscribe and share the video with all your friends, because that'd be really cool if you did that. You know, because I want people to watch my videos, even though it's not the highest of quality, but you know, whoever likes it, so it doesn't really matter truly. Please share my video, please do that. But yeah, let's just get into the story, why don't we? The story starts off after the events of the whole Secret Wars storyline, the whole thing where a bunch of heroes got together and were forced onto Battleworld. That was a whole thing, I don't want to talk about it very much, but we all know that in the Secret Wars crossover event, that's when Spider-Man got his black suit, and that's basically what happened. After that, Spider-Man dropped out of college. His Aunt May didn't really like that, so she kind of cut off contact from him because of that, because she's like super upset. So Peter Parker, he's pretty much in the outs with everybody. He's on the outs with MJ, with Black Cat, and with the superhero community. And the black suit, the symbiote, is not really helping him, because the first issue starts off with him having a pretty terrible nightmare of all of his friends dying and him running away from a pretty ominous voice telling him that he can't save them. So right out the bat, you could tell this is not going to be a very fun, lighthearted tale of a regular Spider-Man adventure. You could tell this shit's going to get real deep real fast. After waking up from a pretty terrible nightmare, Spider-Man decides to go clear his head and, swing around, stop some muggers, and then returns home to fall asleep, only to be awakened by MJ, who apparently has keys to his place. He almost kills her because he woke up from a pretty terrible nightmare once again. As I said, the symbiote is not being a good influence on the guy's brain. It's not doing very good for his mental health whatsoever. But basically, she's just like, yo, this whole weird suit thing, you gotta get that checked out by like Reed or somebody, because it's kind of weird how it's basically its own living being or whatever. And yeah, it's not natural, Peter. You should check that out. And Peter's just like, ugh, fine, okay. And, he does that. The next day, he goes to the Fantastic Four, and, they check out his suit. While he does that, he takes a little nap, and of course, he has a pretty terrible nightmare once again. Nightmares are a pretty big thing in this whole miniseries. The whole nightmare is basically, as I said, the symbiote putting its influence on Peter, basically feeding probably his worst fears ever, of all of his friends dying, of him being accused of not being strong enough to basically help all of his friends. And you could really see that's really taking its toll on his health. Like, you can see in this comic, like, the art really shows just how fucked up Peter is. He's not looking too good. He's looking real sick. And speaking of the art is absolutely beautiful. I love Soto's art in this book. The watercolors and everything, it's really pretty to look at. And it's really great when the violence starts, but we'll get into that real soon. I also nearly forgot to mention, before he went to the Fantastic Four, Peter was out, swinging around, and he saw the Hobgoblin basically, stirring up shit, as he does, and Peter has decided that he's had enough of the fucking Hobgoblin, and beats the ever-living shit out of him. Like, he is not very merciful whatsoever. He literally throws a car at this guy, and he unmasks him in front of everybody, which is something that didn't actually happen in the main continuity of the comics. Peter didn't figure out who the Hobgoblin is for a very long time, but he just did it right after they fought again. And the Hobgoblin was not very happy, but Peter was even more unhappier. He basically just threatened him, saying that, listen, fucko, I don't like you, and I don't like how you always stir up shit. Listen, if you can do this again, I'm gonna fuck you up, and I'm gonna fuck everybody else up who decides to come at me. I am playing for keeps, my guy. You better not come at me, because I'm gonna throw some hands. That spooks the Hobgoblin, but unfortunately, it doesn't spook him enough. But back to with the Fantastic Four, Reed Richards figures out that the Thing, the suit, is actually alive. It's a living being that basically wants to physically bond with the host, of course, being Peter Parker, and he wants to bond on an almost molecular and mental level. That's why he keeps seeing the symbiote in its dreams, basically like feeding his worst fears. And, Reed is basically like, yo, man, you gotta take that off. That isn't really good for you. The whole symbiote binding to you, I don't think that's a good look. But Peter's just like, no, it makes me a good Spider-Man. Like, it helps me out. It makes me stronger. Why should I take it off? And, of course, he just runs away because he doesn't want to take it off. And he also spooks out the rest of the Fantastic Four because Peter usually isn't this aggressive, like, at all. So him acting this way is very alien to them. You get what I did there? Alien to them? Yeah, never mind. But yeah, after that, Peter decides to pay Aunt May a visit because he felt like it's been too long and that they should, reconcile after a while. The two talk, and they actually do reconcile. Peter and Aunt May decide that they do love each other, and that they don't want anything bad for each other, and that Aunt May was just upset because she knows he has so much potential, and him dropping out of college really shows that he doesn't believe in himself, and she doesn't like that for him, but, they reconcile. She's just like, okay, I forgive you. But unfortunately, that motherfucker Hobgoblin decides to ruin it because he followed Peter all the way back to his house and he figured out his identity. And my god, it wasn't not a good idea for Hobgoblin because while the Hobgoblin and Spider-Man were fighting, Aunt May's house was set on fire. That's not good because the symbiote doesn't like fire. So when Peter decides to go and save Aunt May, it doesn't end very well because the symbiote, as I said, doesn't like fire, so it pulls Peter back because if it goes in there, the symbiote will die. And the symbiote doesn't want to die, so fucking Aunt May gets burned alive in a fire. And it's fucking horrifying. It's really, really sad, and it pisses Peter off a lot. So much that he beats the ever-living shit out of Hobgoblin and just ties him up, and then he fucking kills him. That's right, Peter kills in this book. He snaps his fucking neck and he gouges out his eyes. It's really gruesome. As I said, the art looks pretty great when it gets to the violence. It's really fucking messed up, but yeah. He kills the Hobgoblin, and this starts a really long part of Peter going down the deep end of him just killing all of his villains because he realizes that he has the power and he has the responsibility to stop them. And what a better way to stop them than just fucking kill them. Peter at first doesn't really want to, but the Venom symbiote basically convinces him that, yeah, this is actually a good thing. We're stopping the bad guys and we're stopping them permanently, so they won't hurt anybody else. Gwen Stacy and, Captain George Stacy won't happen ever again because he's stopping them from doing anything ever. And Peter just kind of gets convinced by that. He's like, yeah, you're right. Maybe I should kill them. Also, he pays J. Jonah Jameson a visit because J. Jonah Jameson, as you know, he likes to slander a little bit. He likes to do a little bit of libel. And Peter, he wasn't feeling that. He wasn't feeling that whatsoever. So he goes to the Bugle and he breaks his fucking hand. He's literally crushing that guy's hand. That wasn't a very fun time for JJ, but he gets his comeuppance. Spider-Man, that is, but we'll get into that very soon. Also, the Kingpin finds out that Kingsley is dead, and he's pretty spooked because, Spider-Man isn't usually the one who does the killing, and that's how business works, because, superheroes, they don't kill the villains. That's not what they're supposed to do. So he's a pretty spooked by that, so he decides to send the Shocker and the Scorpion out to take out Spider-Man for good. Also, while this is happening, MJ's getting really freaked out with Peter acting really weird and really dark and edgy. He's sounding like a OC Sonic character, and she's not liking that one bit. She's just like, Peter, you gotta stop this. And Peter's just like, no, I gotta kill them all. This is for Aunt May for dying and shit like that. Also, like, as I said, Aunt May's dead. This happened like a couple days after her funeral and stuff like that. So, yeah. But yeah, he's going off the deep end. And then he's attacked by the Scorpion and the Shocker. Oof, and shit gets bloody real quick. He kills both of them. Long story short, he tears off the Shocker's arm and he tears off Scorpion's tail and probably a couple other ligaments that we don't know about because it wasn't shown. But I think we can imagine what happened to them. It wasn't very good. But he sends them over to Kingpin, and Kingpin is just like, wow, I did not expect you to do that. Once I figured out who you were, I decided to see who are your relatives, who are you related to, you got any family. Then I realized, you're alone, you don't got nobody, dog. And Peter doesn't answer him, he just walks up to the Kingpin and fucking kills him. He doesn't. Spoiler alert, actually Kingpin survives, but we'll get to that a little later. But yeah, he nearly kills him. He punches him off screen, and it doesn't look like a very pretty visual whatsoever. While this is happening, JJ decides to call in the Sinister Six. Yes, that Sinister Six with Kraven the Hunter, Dr. Octopus, Shocker, Rhino, all those guys. And he decides to put them on payroll to go and take out Spider-Man because the dude is killing a lot of people. He's going off the deep end. As I said, he's off killing villains because he realizes that if he takes them out, they won't be a problem anymore. And those villains, they don't want to die. I wouldn't either, especially if it's a crazy Spider-Man who doesn't joke anymore. That's really fucking scary. So he basically is just like, listen guys, you guys gotta kill him. And so Dr. Octopus is just like, okay. But then Dr. Ock is just like, also, I'm probably going to kill the rest of these guys after we're done killing Spider-Man because I don't trust them. But then he gets fucking stabbed and killed by none other than Eddie Brock. That's right, Eddie's in this story too. He's not Venom, and he won't become Venom in this story, but he kills Doc Ock and then takes over his octopus arms, which, how does that work? I thought during this time, like the octopus arms were like seared into his skin, but it doesn't really matter. All we know now is that now Eddie Brock is Eddie Ock, I guess. You see the puns there? Eddie Ock. I'm funny. So after a couple days of planning, the Six decide to lure out Spider-Man into the woods by using Beetle. Also, Spider-Man kills Beetle. He's been killing a lot of people over the past couple days, as I said before. So they lure him out, and they try to go on attack. Mysterio uses his hallucinogenic stuff to make him go crazy, so he'll think he's seeing something. But Spider-Man manages to beat that by just digging underground like a gopher or something. Long story short, he fucking kills everybody. Nobody really stands a chance against Spider-Man in the black suit. He is killing everybody. He kills Electro, he kills Rhino, he kills Mysterio. Like, it's not going well. But while that's happening, JJ decides to take over a Spider Slayer and tries to fight him and pushes him into a barn that's on fire to kill him. And then JJ realizes, after like the symbiote is like tearing apart, that it's Peter underneath the suit, because this is during a time when JJ didn't know that Peter Parker was Spider-Man. He realizes this and is just like, wait a minute, I can't kill this guy. He's my employee. I like Peter. I'm a bit mean to him, but I like him. So he decides to save Peter before he fucking dies. And, he thinks that the symbiote is dead. Also, Kraven manages to survive. He's one of the few who actually does survive. But JJ just bonks him over the head with one of the Spider Slayer's legs, so that's pretty funny. Also, I nearly forgot to tell you guys, Brock tries to fight Spider-Man, doesn't end well. Spider-Man literally is just like, I don't know who the fuck you are, dude. I don't know what you mean I ruined your life. You did that to yourself, and knocks him out pretty easily, so that's funny. But yeah, JJ thinks that the symbiote is dead and, drives Spider-Man off into the city so they can, recuperate. But unfortunately, the symbiote is not dead whatsoever and has, in fact, taken over the Baxter building and has taken over Reed Richards. So, the smartest man in the world is taken over by an evil black goo. So, that's not very good whatsoever. Also, during this, before Kingpin dies, he decides to send pretty much everybody Spider-Man's secret identity, that Peter Parker is Spider-Man. He sends out his identity before Peter puts him 6 feet under. So, yeah, that was nice. Good job, Kingpin. You managed to have the last laugh. So yeah, that fucking sucks. But yeah, as I said, the Baxter building is being taken over by the symbiotes, who's creating new symbiotes with unstable molecules formula that Mr. Fantastic has. If you don't know, the unstable molecules is what's made up of the Fantastic Four suits. It's basically what their suits are made out of. So yeah, he's basically creating new symbiotes with the unstable molecules, and he wants to take over the world with it. Basically, it's basically like Spider-Man 2. It's that one, but instead with evil giant Venom, it's Venom taking over Reed Richards and the Thing, and trying to take him over with basically living suits or something along those lines. It's really weird. But yeah, all the heroes realizing that the Fantastic Four are being taken over, so they gotta fight him and they gotta figure out how to beat him. And the Spider-Man's just like, listen, let me do it, guys. I understand the symbiote. I was the one connecting with him the most. Let me take him out. So the heroes at first don't really want to trust him because, he's been out killing people, but, they decide to, trust him and do so. Also, MJ decides to tag along because she really loves Peter and she doesn't want him to do this alone. Also, Human Torch decides to tag along as well. It doesn't really go well for them because the thing, yes, that thing, he was taken over as well by the symbiote and fights the Human Torch and fights Spider-Man as well. Spider-Man is really no match for the Thing and nearly knocks him out. Luckily, the Human Torch manages to shoot the Thing out of the building, but unfortunately, the Reed Richards Venom hybrid Thing gets the upper hand and releases all of the evil symbiotes onto the heroes, making them venomized, basically. And it's not good news whatsoever. Also, during this time, the MJ and the Human Torch are separated from Peter. Peter is downstairs, and MJ and the Human Torch are with the evil venomized Reed Richards. And the venomized Reed Richards is basically like, you, MJ, you're the reason why he's weak. He loves you too much, and you're holding him back. MJ's just like, he loves me? It's like, yeah, bitch, he loves you, but you're about to die, so you better run away. So, the symbiotes try to attack MJ, and Human Torch is basically just trying to fly her away because they want to kill MJ because they think she's making him weak. His connection to her makes him weaker and not a good Spider-Man. Meanwhile, Spider-Man figures out a way to defeat the symbiote and tries to distract the symbiote from all the other heroes so he could, try to fight him instead, and try to get the symbiote to bond with him once more. But the symbiote realizes that Spider-Man is trying to trick him and kills Reed Richards because he thinks Reed Richards is too smart to be alive. So, yeah, that's right. Mr. Fantastic fucking dies in this story. That's definitely something they did in that one. So Peter is obviously pretty upset, but manages to run away back into the building. So the Venom symbiote would take chase and try to absorb him once again. But unfortunately, Peter knew this was going to happen, and he used some sort of image inducer. He basically reprogrammed it to use Johnny Storm's power, the Human Torch's power, and kills the symbiote. He manages to kill the symbiote and in turn kills all the other symbiotes that have taken over the superheroes. So all the symbiotes are dead, and the day is saved, but unfortunately Reed Richards is also fucking dead. In the aftermath of all of this, Peter decides to join the Fantastic Four and he becomes a new leader, and the Kingpin is actually alive and takes in a new eviler version of a symbiote, and it's basically hinting to be like a Carnage symbiote or something along those lines. So yeah, there might be a sequel to the story. I don't know. I hope there is, because this story was really good. As I said, it's one of the best modern Spider-Man stories I've ever read, and it's really good. I really recommend it to everybody. You could basically read it in its own trade paperback that you could find on Amazon, but I actually highly recommend you buy the entire omnibus of Chip Zdarsky's Spider-Man stories, because it has that story, it has Spider-Man Life Story, which I will make a video about, and it has his entire run on Peter Parker the Spectacular Spider-Man, which is also really good. The first 5 issues are kind of meh, but the rest of it is really good. But yeah, I really like this story a lot. I liked what it did with Peter's character. Peter was way more mature. He acted like an actual adult in this series, and I liked that a lot, especially compared to how he acts nowadays as just a man-child for the most part. I really liked MJ. I liked how concerned she was for him. I liked how much she loved him and how she supported him throughout this entire little mini-series. I thought that was really cute and really nice for Chip Zdarsky to do. So yeah, I really like this one. I hope you guys can check it out and read it for yourselves, because I did leave out some things that are important or sort of mix-matched it, because, I don't really write scripts for these things, so I'm just kind of going off cuff. But yeah, highly recommend you guys read it. But that's going to be it for me today, guys. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Don't forget to follow me on Instagram. And I'll see you next time.